Good evening. Thank you for joining us. We are learning more information tonight about a fatal mill fire in Prince George late last night. Northern Health says they have treated 24 patients for burns, some serious. 4 were transported to other hospitals, including 1 to the Royal Jubilee Hospital in Victoria. RCMP confirmed that 1 fatality was the shift supervisor at the time of the blast, 43-year-old Alan Little. About 9:30 last night, 1 explosion changed a community.
Another loud explosion at the Lakeland Mill.
The blast at the Lakeland Mill was felt all across the Prince George community. Residents reported feeling their homes shaking and the sound of a cannon going off. Fire crews say when they arrived, many of the injured were brought to the fire trucks for triage care. Many had serious injuries. While they were being treated, fire crews worked to put out the flames.
So throughout the night, we had fire crews on scene. The fire did continue to burn primarily in an area with a fair concentration of hydraulic oil, as well as a particular location called the sorter, where there is a great deal of lumber that's stacked inside sort of metal columns. The crews did an amazing job of getting at all of those spots overnight, and by this morning, and in fact right now, the only place that remains smoldering are those stacks of wood in the sorter.
Alan Waterman is on the ground at the site of the explosion, and he explains what the scene looked like when he arrived.
There are 2 mills behind us here. One is a planer mill. The other, which is now gone, is the sawmill. There were 50 workers on site here, 25 in the sawmill alone. And we got a good look at this site this morning from the air, and joining us on that flight was the Mayor of Prince George, getting her first sight at the devastation, and she shared her thoughts with us.
Well, it's a significant loss, certainly for jobs right now, but today we're really focused on these families and how difficult it really has to be with a burn injury, and we know that there's some critical injuries, so focusing on the families today and everything we can do as a community for Lakeland and for these employees. WorkSafe BC has requested reports on this mill, all the previous inspections of this mill. They'll be looking at that very closely, trying to figure out what exploded here. Was it dust? Was it gas? That's what they now have to determine.
At this hour, the fire is still smoldering. Investigators are being brought in from around the province to find out what caused the explosion, which will take place in the coming days.